So a byproduct of our new strategy is that sometimes if the sprawl doesn't treat us well, we're gonna run it back. This is going to hurt our win record. We came close to 80% and then fell off, but we're going for the cycle right now, and we haven't seen crit in forever. All right, well, so be it.
Once more into the maelstrom, in search of what hope yet remains.
But yeah, the Discord is always the best place to know what we're doing and when we're doing it. That's the short version.
The house on the borderlands, half swallowed by the stain.
Face the forces of evil.
The walls of the place closed tight about us, and it seemed at times that the outside world was a dream we could scarcely remember.
Yeah, so this is gonna tank our win rate a bit. I'm not too heartbroken about that.
To find their way. Avarice slips unseen into the catacombs of the mind.
But yeah, we're really looking for a start where we pick up Snappy Swig and a little bit of relationship on Region 1. It is. It doesn't include all the time that I played it on Epic in Lustrous. I was surprised, as a side note. I don't think we talked about this last week, but a while ago in Discord, I posted like my most played games. My guess at to how much time I spent playing Darkest Dungeon on Steam versus Epic was way off. I have 600 hours of Darkest Dungeon 2 on Epic. That's kind of madness, if you ask me. Like, that's crazy. That's some numbers right there. Rookie numbers. I mean, so total I have like 800 hours in Darkest Dungeon across the two. Which is not terrible for a game that's only been out for a couple years, but yeah, I would have guessed I was way below that. They used to be a little shorter, is one thing that I will say in Lustrous. Oh, I didn't look to see what we got from that fight. What did we get? We got a Clotting Currer. I don't mind that. Don't leave it on for the Librarian, that's for sure, but... Okay, give me another Songbook of Touching Dirges. Stitching Kits. No. Those are not what we're looking for.
The Roaring Heart does much for the weary body.
Okay.
Even more, perhaps,
run it back.
for the restless soul. Try and try again.
Averages. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, it's a good question. Like the runs used to be shorter. They have ballooned in size a little bit. The sluice is like a plus or minus 30 minutes on run length.
These are beaten, broken souls, and yet our fortunes ride with them.
I swear, there's something broken. We haven't seen crit in I don't know how long.
Sanctuary, as fleeting as a dying star.
But yeah, there's also some things where like we did a bunch of runs on a different save file. Like, you know, I'm not too concerned about it.
The house on the borderlands.
I also feel like ducking out of a run should be counted separately from losses, but...
Desperate to somehow help you regain yourself.
Yep.
I prepared a breakfast.
That is the nature of the beast, I fear, in Lustrous.
My words fell on deaf ears. The food flung to the floor. Your appetites demanded more than I could hope to provide.
Also, don't let me forget to actually buy the Bastard's Beacon. That would be... We're going to have a great run, and I'm just going to forget to buy it.
Where lost hope to find their way. Indiscriminate science stains the surgeon's hands.
Quick reset button would be a good idea. I'm a little concerned that this is going to go long, just because we're doing the reset strat, and I do want to have a lot of time to play Baldur later, so we'll see.
Comforts are exhausted. Ahead, only trial and tribulation. The bulwark of your denial is giving way.
Yeah, I mean, if we keep low rolling, it's not going to be a short... Oh, boo. Yeah, it definitely is the nature of resetting. Although I don't feel like I'm asking for that much. Like a sprawl with a snappy swig is something that I think we see on like a fair percentage of runs. Although sometimes we see them pretty late in the run.
Greater threats await those who dare.
That Songbook of Touching Dirges and Whiskey was a nice start last time. But this team suffers so much. Biased opinion, I've had a lot of sprawl runs with nothing gained.
The familiar hearth.
Maybe.
Inviting thee once again. Our great cities burn. All that beauty and knowledge. Ash on the wind.
Ash on the wind. All right. Shrieker. Bastard's Beacon. We really liked the thunderclaps last time, so I'm pleased with those. Scrap grenade is relatively useful. Okay, I think that's it.
Planning and mindfulness, as vital to survival as sharpened steel.
I'll take the laudanum, I guess, though. And I'll take a couple of food.
A bit of comfort on the road to damnation.
Dodge and strength and +3 speed. I guess we put it here. Which buff did we get? +3 speed. Not really the one that we wanted, but that's okay. All right, let's get ready to rock and or roll.
For wealth no longer has meaning, if indeed it ever did.
You did have 2 sprawl swig runs in the last 5 games, so maybe there's a recency bias. Could be. I would say about half of the time when we go to the sprawl, we get a swig. That would be my...
Behold, the great cities of man.
Okay, so we...
Ruined and aflame.
If we don't get the swig from the boss fight, we at least can go to a hospital and clean our people up before we reset. Maybe we're in this for the long haul. Maybe we do a handful of resets today, don't get the run where we can actually go for it, and then switch over to Baldur. Maybe that's the wildly unsatisfying option.
The library burns, and with it the remains of philosophy, reason.
I do think that if you're trying to maximize chances of Chances of winning. The doing throwaway runs where you just say go to a hospital, for instance, is probably the strat. Right? Like you can farm hospitals and wait until you get a run that really pops off. It's probably the strat.
On to the next.
Yeah, I mean, and I think, you know, the jury is still out on this one, but my reading of the Grand Slam is that abandoning runs does not invalidate the Grand Slam. But I'd be curious what other folks think about that. Well, but it is a single-player game that has a challenge that is outlined by the game in Lustrous. I realize that I can play it whatever way I want, but, you know, and I also realize that there are going to be certain people that agree or disagree with my interpretation of things. But, let's see, we're not going to get you. Let's do this again. But the question is kind of like, if you're going for the Bastard's Beacon cycle, is the generally agreed upon opinion that you can that resets are tolerable, or that you need to play 5 consecutive games from 0 memories? You know, like, what's the... Well, so there's no way for us to know if the game counts it, though. I think that's the problem in Lustrous, right? I have gotten the Grand Slam trophy, and I can never get it again. So, I don't know how the code works, necessarily. And by necessarily, I mean at all. So, you know, for all I know, the game could be like, nope, has to be 5 consecutive or not, because it does not expressly say it in the in any of the documentation. I could probably go on the Discord and figure it out. Right, but in Lustrous, so what you're saying there then is you're like, all we have to do is 20 hours of gameplay to see if the game counts it, right? Like, because we'd still have to win the thing to know if it counted or not. Probably it's something we could go on the Discord and ask, and someone probably has the answer. Oh, 2 Infernal Taskmasters here is pretty bad RNG. We're gonna have some work to do. This guy's on a bit of a timer. I'd like to get a bit of healing in. Yeah, I'll have to go do some research. We're definitely going to want to get a Solemnity heal going here before we leave for greener pastures. Yeah, I don't like that we're all a bit chipped down going into the next fight, but well, that is a worse selection. We know we don't have a hoarder here, so we're gonna escape.
An unexpected find.
And we'll make it. We'll head to the hospital for a bit of maintenance. But yeah, I think probably the average return on the Snappy Swig from the Librarian is 1 in 3. And then there are 5 regions, and you select 2 of them. So it is 2/5 chance to get a Sprawl in a run. Oh, there's a Hoarder there. Oh, man. And the fact that we forewent the... I mean, if we come out of this region and all we have is 0 mastery and a Snappy Swig, that's not really what we're looking for. Well, so let me see. So there's Sprawl, Tangle. No, maybe it's a half chance. Because there's Sprawl, Tangle, Shroud, and Feeder. So maybe there's only 4 regions. And it shows 2 on the first one always. So maybe it's a half chance.
The loathing festers.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go left, and we're gonna clean up our folks.
Inconvenient. At least we know what's coming. Unhinged by the impending apocalypse, the fanatics burn book and building alike.
An enlightened element.
A simple choice. At least it should be.
But we have 86, so we'll get everybody cleaned up. So why would it be more complex in Lustrous? Because like there's right. So like I think like in the world of statistics, this is 2 choose 4. I think.
Lethality writ large.
Which I think reduces to 1 choose 2. But
An unavoidable end. A promising development.
yeah, so in 2 choose 4, what are the chances of a specific option being chosen? Let's see if we can get some.
This is no time to falter.
This seems like something AI should be good at, right? All right, AI is telling me that my framing of the question is incorrect. Yeah. I was going with Google Gemini anyways, but I'm not sure that it is actually an incorrect framing.
A little help impeccably timed.
But maybe the fact that you're choosing 2 doesn't matter, and it's just the only question that matters is if you have 4 things, what are the chances that 1 will show up? No, it's quite meaningful that you get to show 2. Yeah, I don't know how to frame this question.
We are the flame, burning brightly for all the world to see. Rummage through the shelves, laden with echoes of indistinct ideas.
Cosmic Slayer and Tough, we don't really want to. Shroud Tactician. We got some bookage. What a windfall of stagecoach items. I don't know that I've ever been on a run that had this many stagecoach items and this little mastery, but here we are.
Wheels askew, coach limping. Be prudent.
Let's see. Do we care about Hematic Rot? We really don't. I think we actually leave that.
We need not be defined.
Oh, I didn't get to any of these. Damn it. I thought I had enough money for everything. Should have been paying more attention. All right. T-Hunter remains gimped. Turns out it's 1 in 12.
The worst kind of parasite.
What's 1 in 12?
Opportunists.
The chances of getting a snappy swig if
The fiend's strength.
so, like, is that the combination of it is a 1/3 chance of getting... Hold on, so there's two different numbers that we're talking about here. There's the chance of the sprawl appearing, which I think is a relatively trivial math problem that we should be able to answer very easily. And then there is the perhaps more complicated question of then assuming that the sprawl shows up. What are the chances of the snappy swig showing up? And then lastly, there's what is the combined probability of getting a sprawl into a snappy swig. All three of those are probabilities of interest to me. But it's definitely not 1 in 12 chance to see a sprawl. And then the 1/3 chance of getting a snappy swig is a very rough estimation, obviously, because there's also the hoarder. You know, you can steer towards the hoarder, etc. So, yeah, I don't. This is a spicy math question. Yeah, I was just curious and lustrous about the absolute baseline question, which in my head was simply, what is the... If you have 4 things, and you show a random selection of 2 of them, and in your mind, one of them is the one that you want to select, what are the chances? Cherub's pretty likely to reapply its dodge anyways.
Measured and steady.
Or just anyone who's good at math, Rusty. We're not asking for everything. Where is someone who has a high school math equivalency? That's all.
Lethality writ large.
So none of the questions we're asking right now require... I mean, to get the right probabilities, certainly could require a lot of data. But fundamentally, like, the base question that is being asked right now is... does not require any data.
Incremental.
I was gonna say you and me both, Rusty, but I'm not quite there yet. Yes, then that requires a lot of data. I concur with that. But there are more fundamental questions that I have not heard good answers to yet that are much less difficult to answer. Like, if you are presented with 4 options, you want one of the options to show up and 2 options are revealed, what is the chances of one of those showing up? That is a question that is the first, that's the first gate in understanding the math of this. The answer of the sprawl is, or of the bigger question is wildly difficult to answer, because you have to be like, what are the chances that there's a hoarder? What are the chances that there's always a librarian, but what are the chances that the hoarder and the librarian are on the same path so you can go to both of them? Then if you go to the hoarder, what are the chances that the hoarder will have a snappy swig? What are the chances that the librarian has a snappy swig? It's a lot, to say the least. And I think the only way that you could answer that is through a, like, quantitative analysis looking at, you know, hundreds and hundreds of runs to just get, like, averages, because the code would not be something that you can kind of, like, delve into to answer that question, I don't think. Because it's too complicated. Like, the random path generation and things like that are too nuanced to be able to figure out. The chances to get any region choice is 50. Okay, that's been the first question that I was asking. So the fact that
The one pleasant in the extreme. This work is noble and necessary.
So certainly in region in Confession 1 you can only get Sprawl and Tangle. So across the totality of a run you will only ever get one. Oh, here's what we can do. Here's an idea. Since we've spent the last hour failing to get our run going, we still haven't done region 1. It's shorter, no sleuths. Let's pivot to that. And maybe I won't be so picky.
The table is set. The inn awaits its
It's a lot of food.
guests.
We'll grab wild teas. So let's see. Okay. So we'll have the yips to deal with, but we'll get there eventually.
Learn what can be taught.
But yeah, let's pivot to
At the end.
let's pivot over and we'll do a denial run. Yes, that was super helpful in Lustrous. It felt like it felt like the fact that you only needed to pick one might have had an impact on things, but I guess it makes sense that it doesn't.